There's a native Japanese tree named hinoki. It soothes the soul with its sparkling citrus and warming woody aroma. It feels like an alpine glade at sunrise, like the smell of damp earth after rainfall, like the sun winking off crystal seas, or the jump in your stomach as you take off on a plane. It feels like home. Hinoki is the inspiration behind the traveler's notebook that captures the calm you feel when you adventure in nature. This year, I will deep dive into the world of wellness and use its pages to reach a particular destination, one that daily habits and intentional living will help me get to: good health and peace of mind. So grab a cup of tea, and I hope that I can inspire you to take off with me on this quest for the one thing that is essential above everything else: health. But first, let me briefly talk about the notebook. Back in 2022, one of my favorite brands, Notebook Therapy, launched a high-end stationery line named Hinoki. Holding sustainability at its core, it features nature-inspired products that capture the essence of Japan. Their aim is to unlock your senses by looking, smelling, and feeling each handcrafted product, and immerse yourself in a Japanese forest at dawn, creating with Hinoki by your side. The cover is made with eco-friendly vegan leather, elegantly held together by an elastic closure with a Hinoki charm. Inside you find two storage pockets. One holds a thank you card, a brief description of the journal, and the prettiest transfer stickers that are a delight to use. It is made up of 3 interchangeable and refillable inserts, one with craft paper, a second one with grit paper, and a third one with blank pages. I am really excited to use it for my wellness journey. I had been trying different trackers and layouts in my bullet journal, but health has become such a big part of my life that it is now a world or dimension on its own. So much so that it feels right to dedicate an entire journal to it. It will not only be motivating, it can also help me be more disciplined and intentional about it. Plus, separating my habits and health from the work and business bullet journal will really create a distraction-free environment where I can sit and be mindful of my lifestyle, habits, and routines. Now let's talk about health. Defined as the state of being free from illness or injury, mankind's search for it has been a constant battle, and the vast majority of us end up settling down for the minimum that can allow us to function. But there's an undeniable truth. Sooner or later, our bodies will pass the bill, and if we're not careful, everything can go downhill. Health is a human right, and it's a very personal journey where ultimately, each one of us makes the choices that best fit our unique needs. In my case, my battle began at a very young age. I was routinely the sickest of 3 kids, especially when I started battling with allergies at 11 years old. Not long afterwards, the battle got harder because as women, we have that extra fight every single month, and in my case, I've had 2 major surgeries because of fibroids. So allergies and fibroids have always been my 2 major health issues, and I've tried everything. Trust me when I say everything, to reach an optimal level where I can be able to have a normal life. If there is something that I have learned, is that there are far too many factors that influence our body's systems with its reactions and defense mechanisms. I've spent much of my life reading and also learning from my physicians as much as I could. And while traditional medicine is paramount in keeping us healthy, there are a million things that we can do related to habits and diet that can greatly spare us doctor and hospital visits. As I have said before in many videos, health is personal, so I am not going to recommend any particular path. Mine has been the result of years of trial and error for my very unique case. And so if you're struggling, my best advice would be to learn as much as you can about your personal ailments and become your own detective. Our body talks, sometimes screams through the way it reacts, and keeping in tune with it is the key to really listen and do the things that help it have an optimal performance. Here is where, in my case, journaling comes to the rescue. There are 2 features that are of great help. Writing things down. It has been scientifically proven that writing stimulates your memory, helps you organize your thoughts, helps to communicate clearly, makes learning easier, helps to deal with emotions better, and it makes you happier and more grateful. All of this reinforces the idea that the practice of writing can become a great ally of your mental and physical health. Tracking. As humans, we are very visual creatures. The images that go through our eyes have a deep impact into our thoughts, our actions, and our habits. We all possess some of what's called photographic memory. Once we've seen something, our brains store that image whether we remember it or not. The point is, visual aids are excellent tools when it comes down to monitoring our daily habits. To illustrate, it's one thing to eat more than the carbs you should, forget about it, and maybe do it again in the next couple of days. And another thing is to write it down and have that visual reminder telling you that you should wait to indulge again in your favorite dessert. I've used trackers for sleep, mood, energy, exercise, and many other things, and so far it has been the best way to keep myself in check, motivated to do better. And so in this journal, I will basically track the different aspects of life that make up for better stamina and cognitive function, and I will also use it to journal every day about my feelings and overall daily reflections. This first collection will be my routines spread. It's interesting how this setup started as a fun, creative page that illustrated my ideal routines, and now it has become basic in organizing my life. Routines are important because they provide structure and organization. This improves our health in various ways. It's actually quite basic. If you eat healthy and take care of yourself, you will find peace of mind. A routine is how you build habits, and though it might sound complicated, it can be enjoyable, fulfilling, and most importantly, beneficial. A good routine can help you manage stress more effectively, sleep better, eat healthier, and get active. All of these are pillars of well-being that in turn will get you where you want to go and achieve the goals you set for your future self. Habits don't happen from one day to the next. You need to try one thing at a time. So make a plan, build out your intentions and the changes that you want to see. Make a list or a vision board, and this will help you stay consistent and hold yourself accountable. And have in mind that it starts with reframing your thinking. A routine does not have to be about changing completely. It's about incorporating healthier habits into what you already do. For example, in my case, I can assure you that it took me years to become a morning person, and that my journal was key in visually reminding me how good or how bad I was doing. Once I finally got on track, having the morning to myself was the biggest motivation in keeping at it. So now I can wake up without an alarm and enjoy those first moments of quiet sunrises. I won't go into detail of my routines. You can sort of see the times and what I'm writing. Basically, they're reminders of my structure to make the best with the time I have, and I also added the supplements that I've been taking so that I won't forget them. Along with these routines, I set a couple of alarms in my watch to signal the times when I need to take a supplement before a meal, or to remind me that my wind down time starts, and so far it's been working. I must acknowledge that the night routine is the one that I struggle with the most. Sometimes I lose myself reading or drawing, and when I see the time, it's almost midnight. So I'm planning to set one more alarm to remind me to stop and just go to bed. Speaking of alarms, I'm sure you know that gadgets can be a blessing and a curse. For example, I used to play movies or series while I created content, and I got distracted far too often, damaging my productivity. Well, now I wish I knew sooner of the apps that block apps, and now I have set timers that prevent me from opening entertaining content while I work or during my wind down time before going to sleep. This video is in no way sponsored, but I've been successfully using Opal. I really like how easy it is to use and the way it gives you motivational quotes and rewards to avoid time wasters. As most apps, they have a free trial, and afterwards you can use it with limited functions, but those are good enough to keep you on track. Now, this is my monthly panel. If you have been subscribed for a while, you will recognize this first section. It's my mood and sleep tracker. I write the days of the month at the top, one per column, and on the left I mark 5 spaces in which each will represent the time I am asleep and the mood of that day. Blissful at the top, then happy, normal, sad, stressed, or angry. To track my sleep, I color code the amount of hours I slept and indicate with a rectangle of that color how much I slept on that day. As I mentioned before, it's the night routine that I struggle with, so seeing that I got to bed late for too long is a definite motivator to get back on track, especially because sleeping is paramount for good health, so that's definitely something that I don't want to neglect. Next is the energy tracker. I simply score it from 10 to 0 and make a graphic accordingly. I have personally found that my energy levels are linked not only to how much I sleep, but also what I eat. So this will go hand in hand with my meal tracker that I will set on the daily log. I am also writing down the symptoms that I struggle with the most, and I will simply add a dot whenever I experience it. Now here's a new section that I recently discovered. Ever heard of the infradian rhythm? If you struggle with periods, you might want to investigate it. I'm no expert and I've just begun digging into it, but it makes a load of sense, and I have big expectations for it. In a few words, women perform better when they sync their life with their cycle. And that's all I will say for now. Once I have practiced it more and seen results, I'll give you an update on it, but it's definitely worth taking a look. I've been watching endless videos on it and I hope that the trend picks up. I am now adding some details to the pages. It would not be a journal of mine without embellishments, but I want to keep the decoration simple. I will not be drawing or making intricate designs. Instead, I will make full use of all my washi tapes and stickers. I believe that making something look beautiful adds to the visual value and to the attraction that pulls us in to use it. And now I am moving on to the weekly and daily logs. I am going to time-lapse the part where I trace all those sections, and I'm actually going the extra mile here for the sake of this video, but I will definitely not be tracing all of these on a daily basis. But I really wanted to show you the different sections by clearly separating them with a clean cut, so as to say. I plan on scanning it and print it to have the visual blueprint of the layout so that I can log it all more efficiently without all the lines. The weekly log consists of a goal and also a reward if I achieve it. Then I will have space for 3 priorities and also space for little things to do to feel better in 6 areas: health and fitness, self-care, personal development, spiritual, fun and recreation, and social. The layouts on this page were heavily inspired by the wellness planner from Clever Fox. I used it for 3 months and adapted it to my needs. Again, the video is not sponsored, but I feel that Clever Fox has some of the best journals for beginners. They cover most topics like budgets or wedding planning, and they are affordable, really well designed, and the best is that they come with cute stickers. I found them on Amazon. Then there's a section for 5 habits and skills. I know that I would start with exercise, hydrating, reading, art, and wind down time. It's nice to have this as a weekly layout for me to come back to it and check down all the habits that I got to fulfill. I'm also adding a to-do list and a place to write down my wins at the end of the week, as well as how to improve where I was lacking. Having small spaces to write the basics keeps it simple and adaptable. Now the daily log. I plan on sitting for a couple of minutes every morning to fill out the top 3 wellness-related priorities. Then there's space to track how much water I drink because I'm really bad at that. And then there's the meal log. I have made a choice to restrict my sugar, dairy, and gluten intake because I found that it improves my health a lot. So keeping a visual tracker helps me see if it's time to indulge a bit. Tracking meals is part of being my own detective and seeing which foods trigger which symptoms. I know that it's not an exact science, but I can tell you from my own experience that it actually works. So this is not intended to count calories. It's to make me aware of how much fat, carbs, or protein I take and make sure that I am not lacking any nutrient. I recently heard a quote that said, "You don't have to wait for a greater life to be grateful. Feel grateful and you're gonna have a greater life." So at the end of the day, I will have this section to practice gratitude, something that I actually been doing for a while, and it does change my perspective on life. For no matter how bad a day was, there will always be something to be grateful for. And this last section here will be a little summary of the day where I can journal about how it went, how I felt, and any lessons learned. As I said, putting things in writing helps memory and reaffirms any new knowledge. So journaling at the end of the day is one of the best intentional practices that you can adopt. I am now using stencils to add little drops to my hydration tracker. Stencils are awesome, and I know that I will be using them a lot on this journal, especially on the insert that is totally blank. I am finally finishing with more stickers, and that's that. I'm really happy with how this wellness journal turned out. And more than that, I truly hope that this inspired you in any way to start caring more for yourself, no matter your age. There are so many things that I wish I knew sooner. But it's never too late to start caring, and with the aid of simple tools like journals, we can do much good by investing very little time. And the reward for this little effort will no doubt be absolutely worth it. And here's a little final flip through of my wellness journal. I am very pleased with the natural vibe that this notebook brings into my process, and I'm truly looking forward to a better year health-wise, where I can be in control of my habits and the overall results. Please let me know your thoughts on it or your own personal way of tracking your habits and health. I love new perspectives and ideas, so keep them coming. I always appreciate the kind comments and the ongoing support. I have 100 new ideas for the coming year, so subscribe to follow my journaling content, and as usual, thank you so much for watching.